When you live in a 130 square foot shed, it is very easy to get cabin fever. So I have to force myself outside as often as possible. I'm gonna take you on a little walk with me today. So my routine for a typical writing day would be I wake up first thing in the morning. Well, duh, of course I wake up in the morning. I start writing first thing in the morning and work until around noon. If all goes well. Then when I need to reset my brain to come back for another round at something, I take a walk. And I go on this little trail that I'm carving for myself. Since I've been walking this route multiple times a day, I have started to carve a nice little trail for myself. Without using any tools, nothing but my feet, I am gradually creating a state park system for myself. I take this direction during the early part of the day because the sun comes out over this valley, infinite expanse of blue sky, and then I get, you know, the actual sunshine. I am currently right about at the edge of my property. In fact, there's the little post. Yeah, I can't see it. There it is. That marks my property line. So you can see behind me, where is it? My shed off in the distance there. There it is. Beautiful thing about this property is that there's a lot of state land around it. So I'm butted up on several sides. I have public land. So I don't really have to worry about my own property lines, because I can kind of just go as far as I want. Weather changes fast out here. The wind comes out of nowhere. It'll be calm and beautiful one moment. Suddenly there's a gale going. Hopefully any of this audio is even usable. Sun likes to pop in and out of these little playful clouds. Where is it? Up there somewhere. I can't really see what I'm filming here. I'm headed for that yonder hill. Where is it? There. Approaching the edge of the abyss right now, so the winds might get crazy. Oh my God, there goes my hat. This is what this thing is for, if you ever wondered. It's to keep my hat from blowing off. Now is the time where it's needed. And this is where I usually stop, because over that hill is another neighbor who I've never met and who I've heard is kind of an aggressive character. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is a very good way to clear your head. Over there, where is it? I'm doing all this in a mirror, which is why I'm having such a hard time finding what I'm pointing at. That is my shed. That's where I live. This is sort of the limits of my enclosure here. So that is my afternoon stroll. I do this at least once a day, sometimes multiple times. When I'm really in the thick of it, in the deep writing zone, I get stuck a lot and I need to go out and like let my thoughts sift together and figure out solutions. And now, after a long day of writing clever little things for cartoon animals to yell at each other while they fight, it's time for my evening walk. For evening, I go up there, because that's where the sun is. And that is really what my whole life is about out here, is following the sun. I moved out here to follow the sun after living in an extremely dark place for my whole life. I craved open sky, warm light on my skin, I've set my clock to the sun. I wake up with sunrise. I don't go to bed with sunset, but mornings at least are sacred in that way. And I follow it around throughout the day.
This spot right here is just delights me so much. Look at that. Nothing but feet. Just walking over and over again. Just like this. And then we have the actual road, which is the only way out of here. It ends down there, and so there's no traffic on it other than my one neighbor back there. And I could continue on this road, have a nice, simple, clean walk. However, let's take my trail instead. I am now on public land, which makes me particularly proud of this trail because I feel like a rogue forest ranger deciding where the future of hiking is going to be. Because somebody, some point in history, had to decide, here's where the trail is. People probably started walking the trails, and then eventually the Forest Service stepped in and be like, all right, let's formalize it. Let's, tidy it up. But they probably used pre-existing routes in many cases. So I'm making that pre-existing route. Me and the deer. As you'll see in a few spots on this trail, once I established this, the animals took the cue and started using it as their own highway. You'll see deer turds everywhere, footprints, etc. I've seen coyote prints in the snow, lots of deer, various birds and small critters. They're all following in my footsteps, which is kind of a magical feeling. I've always loved the sense of collaboration with nature out here. Like I talked about in my video about spring, there's this feeling that we're all kind of in it together out here. Like, yeah, a lot of us eat each other, but we're still playing the same game. And we end up helping each other in odd, unexpected little ways. Like, for example, making these trails. I have also gotten the same favor from the deer at times because they make trails too. And I've used them as guides at times to decide where my trail should be. Look at that. It's like Stonehenge.
While I make these trails and other impressions of myself on this landscape, I'm very conscious of the fine and blurry line between participating in nature and destroying it. And I'm very conscious of not doing anything and being aware of where I fit into that balance. I think there are people who go pretty far and extreme with the whole kind of leave no trace principle, which is, I think, an idea built around, state parks and things that are massively trafficked. So because of the huge numbers of the density, the human density on those locations, they have to be extremely militant about the tiniest things, because one little contribution to the environment multiplied by a million times a year becomes a catastrophe. So I get that. But I also find sometimes people don't really grasp that nuance, kind of similar to how a lot of people don't understand that having an outdoor cat in a suburb is a very different thing than having an outdoor cat out here, where there's no traffic, where there's no ecological concerns about him killing mice and birds and whatever, because it's just a different scale, it's a different context. With the trail stuff, me being out here, literally one man walking this route, yes, I'm making a little dent. I'm crafting little trails. But you know what? So do the deer. So do lots of animals. All animals leave a trace of some kind. The only reason it's a problem for humans is that we scale up and we concentrate all our activities on these specific parts of the world, which can't sustain it. I feel like my activities out here are well balanced with the environment. I'm not affecting anything on an industrial scale. For me, all it is a little guide. It's a line that tells me where to go. It protects me from snakes, allows me to know where to step, and it gives the same for other animals. I mean, I feel like for me, it needs say no more than the fact that the animals use my trail. It's not harming anybody. There's a mentality that I've observed with people who are mostly very similar to me, people who love the outdoors, who love nature, who aren't big fans of, human civilization and its effects on the world, but they go a little step farther than me, and to turn it into kind of like a self-loathing fanaticism, where there's this idea that like humans are not part of nature, that we don't have any right to be in this world. So every little, blade of grass that we tread on is a crime. And I don't believe that. I mean, all animals affect their environment. We do too. It's just making it not industrial scale. If it's always at a human scale, I don't see that as a problem. I'm not a fan of my species as a whole. As you can see, I mean, my choices in life. I don't have a lot of love for this monkey race that we're in anymore. I spent my years supporting it and believing in it. You saw evidence of that in the Warm Bodies books, where I really wanted to believe that humans could be a force for good. And I don't think that they can't, but the evidence continues to mount that we're not heading that direction, and I'm weary of it. I'm more weary than angry at this point. So I choose to largely remove myself from it. But at the same time, I don't believe that, we need to martyr ourselves, that we are not deserving of a place on this planet, and that we have to, hide ourselves behind plexiglass barriers and observe nature from a distance and never touch it, never breathe on it, never bend a blade of grass. That's not fair. We have just as much right to be here as any other animal, as long as we don't abuse it.
So this is where I stop. This big hill. I don't venture down into the dark woods. At least not without my bear spray. And my God, what a place to stop. I don't know if it shows up on the video, but the birds, it's like a cathedral. When they chirp, there's reverb that trails off for a good 5 seconds. It's a religious experience.
So I turn around and I head back. And there's a little hobby that I've been developing out here. Funny little ritual that I've started to enjoy, which is this rock. This time of night, when the sun gets at this angle, this low angle, what it does to my shadow is just wonderful. So I've been making myself chuckle with my little performances on this screen here. So get ready. So there you have it. This is what I get up to after hours, after dark, when the shadows fall. You know, we gotta find our fun where we can get it. That's what I'm learning out here. As you can see here, it's the Critter Superhighway. All sorts of traffic going on here. Man and bird side by side. Gotta be some deer in here somewhere too. There's the deer. Spotted. Share the road, my friends. Share the road. And then, of course, we mustn't forget the Return Welcoming Committee. Makes it all worthwhile. Guardian of the outpost, security chief, and Board of Tourism head, Mr. Bob Squishman. Say hello, Baba.